Happy Monday, everybody. Rise and shine. Good morning, everyone. How are you? I hope you guys all are well. I can tell you that I slept really well this morning. I can barely speak. Good morning, Sugar and Carrie. Welcome in. Let's see here. Let me pull up the chat so I can see everyone. Come on, we can do it. Let's see. Good morning, Pen. Welcome in. Hi, Debbie. Good morning. Good morning. Coffee is my best friend right now. I need this. So need this. Okay. Okay. Come on. Okay. Good morning. Good morning, Julia. You have a wonderful day as well. So yesterday, in case you missed it, we had a little bit of a celebration. We had this happen. There we go. Silver play. I don't know if you can see the words, but it just has my name on there. Very, very nice. And it's smaller than the older ones. So this is the new award. The awards now come a little smaller, which I guess is fine. An award is an award, right? It's fine. Good morning, Colette. Welcome in. Hi, Aaron. Good morning, Amelia. And Vessel for God's Glory. Good morning. Good morning. Crushed Velvet. Hello to you. Welcome in. Carrie, no big deal. It's perfectly okay. She mentions, I left you a comment, so sorry I couldn't make your celebration. It's perfectly okay. You know, I always say that's what the replays are for, you know. If you can't make what I've got planned or whatever the case may be, catch the replay. It's perfectly okay. Good morning, Sherry. Welcome in. Good morning, May. Welcome in. And hello, Robin. I hope you are well. Good morning to you as well. Let's see. We have Alicia from Australia. Hello. You know, it always blows me away how people find me from far, far away. I love it, but it amazes me, you know. I know I'm not just local, but we have wonderful folks from far, far away who watch us. And I can't tell you how grateful I am for that, you know. It's the wonderful thing about YouTube. You find us near, you find us far, all the things. It's so, so good. Good morning, Tracy. Welcome in. Let's see. Is Sunita here? Hi, Sunita. Welcome in. Super happy to have you here. Still making your way through the replay, but I'm loving it so far. Teared up a bit. Yes. You know, I got choked up a couple times. I really had to hold back because it's really emotional for me. And I don't know what it's like for other people. I can't really speak for them. But I can tell you for me, it's about the climb, you know, and about the friends that you make along the way. You really don't expect to meet perfect strangers and, you know, make connections like that. And it happens. And so, you know, I made some really special connections with a whole bunch of people during my journey here so far. And the wonderful thing about this is it continues. It's, you know, I'm still meeting new people from different places, and it's really, really fun. You know, it's one of the best things about what I do here. So I'm super happy to find you guys. And people are still discovering the channel. So whether you're next door or on the other side of the globe, it's really nice to find new faces from different places. So thank you so much, Vicky. I appreciate that. Good morning, Kim. Welcome in. Sorry I missed you in the beginning. And I have to tell you that in order for me to make this live happen for us, I've had to set 4 alarms. Starting at 3 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah. So 3 o'clock, 3:10, 3:30, 3:45. And I slept through the first 3, and then the 4th one is what finally woke me up. So I might have to set my alarm a little earlier just to make the time, because it takes time to prepare for a live. Sometimes you just can't run in here and turn it on and go. I will tell you that today I literally turned on the camera, sat down, and here we are. But I did have in mind what I wanted to talk about. I've got my bin here, so I am somewhat organized, which is good. Oh, did someone call me? Did someone call me? Because I completely missed that. I will tell you. You can tell just by looking at me that I'm not like fully here. I used to be a spring chicken. I used to be able to just pop right up out of bed and be ready for the day. Nowadays, it's taking me a little bit of time. It takes some time, some caffeine, some hydration, some lotion, a splash of water to wake us up. It takes a little bit of work in order to actually function, but yeah. At least I'm dressed, right? That's the perfect thing about this. Just throw on a shirt and be ready for the day, So, for those of you who are new here to what this is, it's Wake Up with Juan, and I have this live stream to help me organize my week. I found that organization is key. I like to organize my thoughts, organize my plans, because I do quite a bit on my channel in terms of what it is I pump out every week. So on Mondays, I do a Wake Up with Juan, and then I'm a workhorse all week to knock out these projects that I have set for myself. And then on Friday, I do a podcast, and it's like a recap of the entire week. So everything that I've done throughout the week, I showcase my acquisitions, anything that comes in the mail. I do all sorts of things, like a culmination of the week on Friday. And so this week is no different. I have a bunch of things here, but the first thing that I wanted to showcase to you guys really quick is this book. So this was gifted to me by Debbie, and I'm working my way through this. So it's called Knit Stitch 50 Knit and Purl Patterns. And for those of you guys that don't know, I'm bisexual. So I am a knitter and a crocheter. And so I'm a self-taught knitter. And I thought to myself, well, what perfect way to really learn and focus on the specifics of knitting than to create these swatches. So just to recap, I completed the first two, and I began the third one. I'm going to show you that. So the first one is the garter stitch, and this is what it looks like, the garter stitch. For those crocheters who don't knit, just bear with me. I'm sharing my journey of knitting with the world. So this is the garter stitch. That's what it looks like. And here's my swatch. So it looks the same on both sides, the garter stitch. And then next we've got the stockinette stitch. And for this one here, each side is different. So this is the front of the work. You've got the stitches that look like this. And then on the back, it looks like that. So one side is a knit side, one side is a purl side. So this is the knit side, and this is the purl side with all the bumps. Okay? And then thirdly, I'm proud to report, I'm going to do another swatch. It's not perfect. Like I mentioned before, I'll present at the end of the week when I finally perfect the stitch. But this is the 1x1 rib. So it's knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. And this is what my swatch looks like so far. Well, it's a finished swatch, but this is what it looks like. I'm going to flip it around and show you. And so there's some things I need to discuss with you guys about this. So my cast on that I do doesn't work for every stitch. So this week's goal is to research some cast on options, because I learned a very basic cast on, and it's not your traditional cast on. It's Just, it's a very basic wrap around the fingers twice, and it's not the way you see most knitters cast on their work. So I think that's the reason why we're seeing this here at the bottom. It's just not how the work should look. Okay? It's just a mess. I'm going to show you how I do it. And if you're an experienced knitter, perhaps you can tell me what the name of this cast on is, because I learned this at 8 years old and I was never told the name of what this cast on is. So what I do is I start with a slip knot. I do that, and then I put the needle on the work like that, and I tighten it just like that. Okay? So if you're an experienced knitter, please watch and tell me, because I have no idea what this is called. So I hold on to the tail like this. Okay? And then I take my yarn and I wrap it around my fingers 2 times. On this side, I've got 1 strand. On this side, I have 2. I take my needle and I go in on this side and I pull it nice and tight. Wrap it around, and I continue doing that just like this. And that's how I cast on. And this is what my cast on looks like. Okay, so again, I don't know what the name of this is, but I start all of my work like this. And then I cast on however many I need, and the actual slip knot here that I create is counted as the first stitch right here. And then I do all of those there. That's casting on left-handed, and believe it or not, it's backwards here. I have a lot to learn. So if I cast on left-handed, I will tell you I'm still a right-handed knitter. A left-handed crocheter, a right-handed knitter. I can't make sense of it, Connie. I have no idea. So yeah. Colette says, when I saw you doing it the other day, I confess I've never seen that method. But somehow it works. I'm able to actually, look at my work. I'm actually able to do the work. It's just really strange. Yep, backward loop cast on. Look up cable cast on for a neater edge. Okay. Very, very nice. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. That's how my mother taught me to cast on. Never named it. I use a few cast on methods. Yeah, that's very old school. Like, I learned that in like the mid 80s. And to some, it's funny to say, long time ago, the mid 80s. To me, it's like yesterday, but to the younger generation, many, many years ago, I'm aging and I don't like it. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome in, everyone. Okay. There's that other cast on where you wrap it around and you do the things. I don't know how to do that. I watch people do it and I'm amazed by it. But I feel like this, as long as I'm able to get the work done, right? That's all that matters. Bird Mama says, Juan, I want to crochet something for my 21-year-old son for Christmas. Do you have any suggestions? Well, does he want to, what did you want to make? Like, I have suggestions, but like, are you looking for a wearable? Are you looking for maybe like a blanket to make? Not really sure, but a hat and scarf combo is really nice. Cambridge Nights is a really nice one for a gift. Also the Kingston hat and scarf set is really nice. Yes, a wearable. So, well, it's December 8th, so I'm thinking if you want to make a wearable, you want to have enough time. You don't want to be under pressure, I would suggest perhaps a top-down raglan. I don't have anything like that on my channel, but you could type in a men's top-down raglan, and some options will come up for sure. I mean, yeah. Also, too, if you're into the patterns, you can find a few on Etsy. I know I have found a few. Um, Maybe a wearable vest. Yeah. Made my son the Emberfell hat and cowl set. It's a really nice set, by the way. Just saying. But if you're looking to make a wearable, I would strongly encourage you to check out Etsy or Ravelry if you have a Ravelry account. Yeah, men's top-down raglan. If you want to make a vest, there's tons of options there as well. So yeah, for sure. And since time is of the essence, depending on, what you like to crochet with, may I suggest like a chunky yarn, um, like a chunky sweater, or a worsted weight, like a 4 or a 5. There are some thinner 4 weights that would look really nice. I've crocheted some super bulky number 6 sweaters. It's not something I would, make and wear every day, but for a gift, I would probably go no higher than a 5 weight yarn for sure. Like a Premier Puzzle. It looks really nice in a sweater. So, yeah. Aaron says, I made the Emberfell cowl. It's beautiful. Some people told me that it took them forever to do it. Well, the fact is, there's 80 stitches in one round. Lots of stitches per round, and there's like 29 rounds or 27, something like that. There's a bunch of rounds. And so, yeah, it will take you a little while to get done, Hi, Snowy Cat. Welcome in. I really like your dappled wake. It makes a really nice gift. You're right. It does. So the dappled wake is a hat. It's a beanie. And then it's like an infinity scarf / snood. So it's wide enough so that you can actually wear it up here and have it like cover your head, and you can wrap it around like an infinity scarf. It's a really nice option for those of you who are wanting to make that. It's a perfect gift. Speaking of which, this is the season. Like, I thought about making another one with like a different pattern, a different design. Since that one was made last year, I kind of wanted something for this year. And winter technically isn't here yet. However, if I'm going to do something like that, I need to do it like yesterday. So, where's my notes? Oh, by the way, guys, let me share this with you. I picked this up on my run. Talk about organization for the new year, 2026. It doesn't get any bigger than that, right? What year is it again? I'm not going to forget. It's huge. It's right here in my face. 2026. I paid just $10 for this at Walmart. Very nice. And this is going to help me stay organized between all the things. So, it's got stickers on the front here. I don't know if I'm ever going to use these, but it's nice to know they're there. And then I've thumbed through this, but I guess I can't flip the pages backwards. So it begins October 2025 and runs through December 2026, which is really nice. And what I like most about this is there's tons and tons of space. You have these blocks, and it's got a December to-do list. So if there's any monthly projects that I would like to get done, I'm going to put them here, which is really nice. And then there's these blocks where I can just jot down things throughout the course of the month, which is really nice. And then on this side here, we've got personal goals, work goals, what I'm grateful for, what I'm excited about. I like to jot down my thoughts throughout the month. And then, of course, we've got the calendar. And then we have a breakdown from week to week where I can write down what my goal, like what the lineup is for the day. So if, like, for instance, today is Monday. It's not necessarily the first, but Monday, I would put like wake up with Juan, and then I would jot down some notes, as needed right there. And then also today, it's a very busy day here on the channel, by the way. So first thing in the morning, we do wake up with Juan, and then we do a whipping it with Juan later on. I record it and have it ready for you guys for later on. And then it's members only Monday. So we do a members only live today, so I have to prepare for that. So all of that information will go here. And what's more is I coordinate this with the board. So I can't take it off the wall right now, but I have a big whiteboard, huge whiteboard, and there's a calendar there, and there's all the boxes, and I write down all the things on the box. So projects that are rolling out, things that are coming up, plans for the future, deadlines, all the things. So it's right there in my face. I can't miss it. So I take that and I write it in the book, or I get the information from the book and I write it on the board so I can't forget. So we're getting organized. Yes, Michelle, I am a busy bee. Tons of deadlines, tons of things, content, right? So welcome in, everyone. If you're just peppering in, thank you so much for being here. Yolanda says, hi, Juan. I have one skein of Scarfy that I need to make a cowl. Love the Emberfell, but is my yarn too chunky? Only 261 yards. So if you use the recommended hook size for that yarn, which is, I believe it says a 6.5, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. I can tell you that the Emberfell cowl using a 4-weight yarn took 225 yards. It took 225 yards. So if you're using Scarfy, you're going to play yarn chicken. Being honest here. I mean, it's the perfect yarn for the Emberfell cowl. Actually, yeah. It's great yarn. But if you only have one skein, I suggest not risking it if you can't get a second one just in case. Because I haven't tested that. I don't know if it's going to use the entire skein and you may need a few more yards or what the case may be. But I will tell you that Scarfy would look amazing with that pattern. Yeah. Hi, Nadine. Welcome in. Finally caught a live on my break at work. Super happy that you're here. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, if you want to try it, great. I don't want to sit here and tell you, yes, it'll work, where in fact you may actually run literally to the end of what you have. If you do it with the suggested hook size, one, it's going to be larger. You know what? Now that I think about it, since you're using a chunky 5-weight yarn, and I should have made mention of this sooner. So in order to maintain the same size, instead of doing 80 stitches, when you go up a weight class, when you go from a medium 4-weight yarn to a 5, subtract 10 stitches from the round. So instead of 80 stitches, go 70 stitches, and yes, you will make it to the end. I should have remembered that. Yes, you will. Kim, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate you. I love it. You're very welcome. The super sticker says thanks. I appreciate you. Perhaps making a half double crochet and chain stitch pattern. Yeah, I mean, that is very beginner friendly for sure. Yes, you're very welcome, Yolanda. I didn't think about that. When you go up weight class, if you still have 80 stitches with a 5-weight yarn, it's going to be super wide. You're going to want to decrease your stitches. Forgot about that. Yeah, subtract 10. So you're going to go from 80 to 70. And then if you're going to a 6-weight, someone mentioned having done the Emberfell in a 6-weight and did 50 chains. I don't suggest 50 chains. It's going to be too tight. It's always 10 stitches. And that's my general rule of thumb, guys. When I design things, I know my base stitch count. So for a cowl, so it's 80 stitches in the round for a 4-weight yarn, and then it's 10 stitches. So 80, 70, 60, 4, 5, and 6. And if you want to do a DK weight cowl, you're going to increase by 10 stitches. So it's 90 stitches in the round. So there you have it, a little lesson. Okay, so goals for the week. The first one here is the swatch. So again, my 1x1 rib, I need to redo it. I should have discussed this a little further. So I have to research some cast-ons here. The actual stitch itself worked up really nice, but my bind off, I had a little bit of an issue binding off here. I forgot how to do it until it clicked, but I didn't want to finagle with it. I wanted to be able to speak to this. So at the very end of the work, I forgot that you're supposed to knit 2 stitches and then take the one loop and jump over. You're supposed to take your 2 loops and jump over, you know, and I got caught up here. I wound up knitting like 2 extra stitches and it caused it to go out. So by watching this, it's going to remind me, make sure that when you bind off, you don't increase your stitches. You knit 2 stitches, but it's actually part of your bind off. You're not adding on. So that's what I did. I added on 2 stitches. But the actual bind off process went pretty smooth, if I say so myself, right here. And this was the very end. So I'm going to redo this. I'm going to work on different cast on options. I know there's the long tail cast on. There's tons of different kinds, but yeah, I'm very excited to share this journey with you guys because as a veteran crocheter that's been doing it for 3 decades, you know, I already know this. I'm still learning different things every day, different methods, but I got that. With this, I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, ooh, look at that. So I like to share that with you guys. All right. So cast on, I'm writing it down as I go. Cast on methods, and then work on the 1x1 rib and the push goal. I have a push goal. So the goal is the goal. If I meet the goal before the end of the week, I'm going to have a push goal. I'm going to push myself to work on the next one, which is a 2x2 rib, I believe. Let's see. This is the 1x1 rib right here. And the next one here is a 2x2 rib. So that's the push goal for this week. Push goal, 2x2 rib. And of course, all of this gets presented on Friday, provided that I hit the goal, you know? Carrie says, I'm a baby knitter too, so I'm excited to be getting better right along with you. Listen, life goals, right? To be able to sit here and say, I knit a sweater, right? Just very cavalier. Be like, yeah, I did the long tail cast on method. I did a German twisted rib bind off type situation, Italian something or another. And I did make one lefts and make one rights. And I did the decrease and I did all the things, you know? That's goals, to be able to just very confidently say I've done all these methods and I made myself a sweater with all these cables and all of the texture and the stitches and all the things. So life goals, to be able to sit here and say I made this wearable right now, because I've done it in crochet. I mean, I can get some chunky yarn and make a sweater by Friday. It's no big deal. But knitting, like, that's huge, you know? So, all right, moving on. The next, I dug this up. I unearthed, listen, I'm constantly finding things that I've shown you guys before, but put to the side, completely forgot about, etc., etc. So during one of the Whipping It with Juan sessions, I made this. Some of you may or may not remember this. It's your perfectly squared granny square. I found this in a bin with another whip. So the goal is to, for this one actually, to add to this. I'm probably not going to have this done by Friday because I've got other projects here, but I'd like to get going on this. And I'm going to call this the Neon Granny. Neon Granny. So I'm currently working with Big Twist in Safety Yellow. And I think I'm just going to run different neons. So this one here is called Diva Pink, and this one here is Safety Yellow. And then I'm taking yarn from Stash, just leftovers. I currently have Charcoal Big Twist, and I'm running both of these together with an 8mm hook. I normally use a 9mm hook when I run 2 4-weights together, but for this one here, I'm using an 8mm prim hook. So yeah. And the green, someone mentioned the green. So the green here is this right here. So that's a Big Twist spring green. Not Big Twist, I'm so sorry. Red Heart Super Saver and spring green. I had like a little ball left over from stash, so I only did like 2 rounds right here, but the neon stayed the same. And the color here, I think, is called Periwinkle, and it's Periwinkle and Diva Pink. And then we've got those 2 colors. So my goal here is to just add on to this, continue working this whip. I'm not going to push myself to try and finish this. I want to take it easy on this one. So in between all the things, you know, maybe finish this by Friday. So I have it here, Neon Granny, continue. All right, so that's the goal by Friday. So I just showed you this. I've got tons of these, right? In a bin on the other side of the room, I've got a whole bunch of these, and I don't want to waste them. I want to put them into a project, right? I'm sure we all have a bunch of these, right? I'm sure we do. Whether you have 1 or 100, we all have them, especially if you work with yarn, right? Well, I've decided that as I finish these solids, I am going to make these. This, these, that, those. So join as you go, Granny. I'm going to do 5 rounds and then 1 round in white. So as I finish them, I'm just going to crochet them up. I don't want to waste them, and this is a neater way of using up your leftover yarns, because last year and the year before, I literally took my leftover yarns and just did a granny square and added onto it wherever I ended up at, which is a really great way, but like, I want to think of different and more organized ways to finish up the yarn that I have. So I plan on doing this with some of the yarn. All right, and this color here is, it looks more orange to me, like orange red. It's called Diva Pink. I mean, it's Big Twist. Actually, is that Big Twist? No, it's not. Cancel that. False. This here is Neon Orange. It's not Diva Pink. My eyes are deceiving me. This is Neon Orange, Big Twist. Loops and Threads. This is also Loops and Threads in Fuchsia. But the white... Nope, the white is Big Twist as well. I usually have notes written down for this, but this is what Mondays are for. So anyway, continue as you go, Granny. Add squares. I'll present these on Friday if I've made some significant progress. But again, the goal is to just do the best I can with what time I have, you know? Kim says, I'm starting to get stash scraps of yarn. I love that for us. So Glenda says, hey Kim, he does need to call. I need more coffee. And you know what it is? I think that this coffee is not hot enough. You guys ever have that? You brew your coffee and in haste you make your cup of coffee, but it's just not as hot as you'd like it. Yeah, my coffee is not steaming hot. I like it really, really hot, because the steam from the coffee helps open up my lungs. If you're hearing, I have a little bit of a wheeze, and yeah, it's seasonal asthma, I guess. I don't know. I've always had it as the seasons begin to change. Here in Delaware, the weather has shifted. It's not technically winter, but it feels like winter outside. Like the air is very crisp and brisk and all the things. So it's really causing me to wheeze a little bit. Yeah, do you like those mug warmers or the smart warning? Yes, I do like those. When you're in a rush, though, it takes time for that to heat up and to actually, you have to prepare for all of those things. That's why I use my tumblers as of late, but they're really not. I mean, I like to look at my mug and I like to look at all the weird things that are on the mug. So like, yeah, My mugs or my tumblers as of late are very plain, but yeah. Anyway, here it is. mm. Steven says, don't know if you answered my question. I missed it if you did. What would be a good border for a pattern made up of double crochet cross stitches? So it's a very good question. If you're doing double crochet cross stitches, there's obviously tons of options. You want to ask yourself, do you want a straight edge border or do you want a scalloped border? Okay. You can never go wrong with a scalloped border when you have double crochet crosses. It just looks really nice. You have the cross and then the scalloped border. So what I would suggest and recommend is perhaps in your corners, do like a shell and do like an 8 double crochet corner, 8 double crochets, and then bring that over to your first, space in between your crosses, do a single crochet, go to the next one, do a shell of 6 double crochets, the next one, single crochet, and you'll find that you're making this scalloped edge, like a shell edge. I would suggest that. Okay. You put, yes, Snowy Cat. That's exactly what I do. And you know what? Some people give me some slack for that. They're like, Juan, why would you put your coffee in the microwave? Because I like it piping hot. I like to breathe in the steam, So, hi, Sandy. Good morning. Happy to have you. For having first cup of tea, hard to wake up. I know. It's been a late night, for sure. Hi, Jackie. Welcome in. So, I like the idea of the rounded scallops with the geometric crosses. Yes, there's just something really nice about the effect of that, because if you're making double crochet crosses in the round, you've got these lines that develop throughout the pattern of your blanket. The fabric that you're creating with those crosses has these lines that go like a fence, or like a trellis. So to have that edge rounded like this kind of breaks up the monotony of those hard lines. So yeah, a shell, a single crochet, a shell. And I do need to add that to my Border Academy. I have a list of stitches that I want to roll out to you guys that actually wasn't one on the list. So I do need to pencil that in. It's a shell and a single crochet. As a matter of fact, I may push that up above some of the other ones because it is a basic edge, but a lot of people, like that. They're like, oh, let me just do this quick shell edge. But a lot of people don't know how to begin that or what the stitch count needs to be in order for that to happen. So shell, single crochet border. Okay, for an edge. All right, I have that penciled in. So let's see if I can pump that out. Fingers are crossed. Steven is using 3 colors and I love how it's coming out. I love that too. And you know what? Someone said to me, I can't remember who it was, but someone said to me, Juan, you showed me how to do this stitch and I absolutely love it. And what stitch was it? The stacked double crochet crosses. So you take your double crochet crosses and you hug the double crochet cross from the previous round. Instead of going into the stitches at the top, you're hugging the stitches. You're going around the stitches from the previous one. And someone reached out to me and said, hey, Juan, you showed us how to do that. And I got to tell you, I love going around the stitches instead of in the stitches. It makes the work so much easier to do. And listen, I didn't reinvent the wheel. The stitch was always there. But sometimes just showing someone how to do a stitch, gives them that light bulb moment and like, oh my goodness, he showed me how to do this. And this is great. I love this stitch, so good. Scallop border could soften the harder edge of the cross stitch. Yes, Glenda, I completely agree, 100%. Yep. Good morning, Andrew. Welcome in. So yes, thank you, Kim, for mentioning that. My Border Academy only has 1 tutorial in there right now. The goal for this week, here's another one, a goal is to put out another Border Academy video. Border Academy. And you know what? I may actually do this shell single crochet border. I may do that one for you guys. But there was another one that I wanted to put out. We'll see. Border Academy. For sure, that is a goal. I do have to get that in there. Okay. Happy birthday, Andrew. Is it his birthday already? I'm saying already like I knew the whole entire time. Happy birthday, Andrew. Oh, that's so, so nice. I love that. So, so good. What's the update on cloning Juan? Several failed attempts. We went to the lab. They did testing. They thought we had a match for the DNA to do the cloning, but hadn't happened. So I'm stuck riding this solo. Okay. So update on the squares. So for those of you guys who have not heard about this, I am doing a blanket. I'm doing a whole blanket, a queen size blanket, doing these squares. Okay. I'm using a 5mm US letter H hook. I'm using, where's my hook? Where's my hook? Here it is. I'm using a Susan Bates hook, an inline hook. And hold on. This is what one of them looks like. I still have all the ends on this one, but so it's 1 round of color, 1 round of black. Okay. There it is. And so the goal for this week was to get the black around all of these. Okay. I needed to, because I had these done by the podcast last week. I had 50 of these completed. The goal was, or is still, to have black around all of these and to have the next color done. So here's the next color. Okay. It's called Holly Ivy, I believe. Red Heart Super Saver. It's a discontinued vintage variegated yarn. Okay. So I need 1,020 of these squares. So far, I've got Wedgwood completed. I've got Shaded Red completed. And this week I'm working on Banana Berry. So this is my progress so far. I'm almost finished. I'm almost finished. Banana Berry, number 50. That's what I need. I need 50 of those. And hold on. Give me 1 moment. This is what I have left to put around. I have just these left to put black around, and then I will be finished with Banana Berry by Friday. I've been working very hard this weekend, trying to do all the things, right? So I've got to put black around just these handful of squares. And the push goal, I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I'm going to put black around this. I've done 50. These are all done. So the goal was to have these done by Friday. I knocked it out. I'm like, let me do it now, get it out of the way. So again, the next 50 is done. And I find that by breaking it up into pieces, guys, it's really, really fun. And it's easier for me to manage and maintain. I'm having a lot of fun just doing 50 of these at a time, you know? So when you have big projects like this, break it into pieces. You know, set yourself little weekly goals and say, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, neither was a blanket. Of course, unless it's like running four weights of yarn together with like a size X hook, but it's more like a rug, not a blanket. Anyway, break it up into pieces and give yourself little goals and little stepping stones to push you along your way. You know what I mean? So it makes it more attainable. Andrew, thank you so much for the gifted membership. I really appreciate that. And Bobby M, congratulations on your gifted membership from Andrew. That's awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm well on my way with this, guys. If I manage to get black on all of the squares, we're ahead of schedule. You know, the goal for this week is to have Banana Berry. This is week number 3. Each week, the goal is to have 1 completed color with black around. So I'm kind of sort of ahead already, but Yeah, I'm gonna continue working on these. I may, if time permits, I'm not gonna write it down, but if time permits, I may jump onto the next color and do the next 50 of the next color here. But I want to get black around the banana berry. I want to get black started on this one. And if I start black on this color, I need to begin on another color of the vintage discontinued variegated yarn. So yeah, I did my measurements according to the size of my square. Again, I need 1020, and it's for a queen size blanket. And very, very excited. Good morning, Shannon. Welcome in. Welcome in. It's cold in this room. I forgot to put the heat on. Thank you guys so much for the thummies. And for those of you guys that don't know, I do my verticals on this particular live stream to really reach out, to put me out there in front of new folks, because like TikTok, you know, Facebook, or not Facebook, YouTube has that function where you slide through all the shorts and all the streams and things. So I'm hoping to find people from around the globe, near and far. So I do it once a week. This is the time that I do it. So if you're ever wondering why I'm doing a vertical instead of the horizontal, I do it here because it puts me out in front of new folks. So yes. All right. The next thing that I have to show you guys is my donation blanket for the week. So I mentioned this before. Since my donation blanket season has officially ended, I have a goal of doing one blanket per week. And this week I'm working with this. So I'm working with Karen's Spice Cakes. And this colorway here is called Ultramarine. Super, super nice. And let me see here. It's a super bulky number 6. It's machine washable and dryable, which is perfect for donations. 100% acrylic. It's 8 ounces at 227 grams, and each cake only has 239 yards. So not much in the way of yardage, but it's a lot considering it's 200. I mean, it's a lot for super bulky number 6. Tracy, welcome back to the fellows. Thank you so much. Jackie, thank you for being a member for 19 months. I really appreciate that. Oh, thank you, Steven. You were a big help today. I really do appreciate that. Sometimes, actually a lot of times, you guys have some great suggestions that I like to include, Steven. So thank you so much for being here. Janelle asks, Juan, what does it mean when your metal crochet hook squeaks while crocheting? Have I worn it out? No. It's literally the fibers that have just found its way onto your hook. There's a quick fix for that. And it's the same fix that I tell people with the plastic and the resin hooks. Grab yourself a dryer sheet and rub a dryer sheet around your hook. I don't know why it works, but it does. Just take your dryer sheet and pretend like you're washing dishes. You know, just get that dryer sheet around your hook and try it again with some yarn. You'll find that it slips, it slides, and it doesn't squeak or make noise. I don't know why it works, but it does. And if in the rare event that it doesn't work, then run it under warm water and get some dishwashing liquid, you know, some dish liquid, and give it a good wash, and then do your dryer sheet. Okay. Let's see. It's lovely you do this morning time podcast. 9 a.m. is more civilized than 1:30 a.m. Right, Snowy Cat? I'm trying to find that yarn because of what you said about it. I need a color that speaks to me. Yes, absolutely. I do that with my wooden hooks because of you. Yes. I don't know why it works, but it does. Dryer sheets really do work when you find squeaking, or if you feel like there's a bit of a snag. I don't know why it works technically. It doesn't make sense, but it does. I think it's the anti-static of the dryer sheets. It could be that, Julia. You know, I can't put rhyme to reason. I can't tell you why, but it's nice that we have that option. So anyway, we've got this yarn here. I've got this colorway as well. And a third colorway that I'm including in this blanket, I've already used that. I only had one cake, so I'm going to show you my work. You guys ready for this? So this is my work. So I'm doing a corner to corner donation blanket. Look at that beautiful texture. Isn't that gorgeous? Love it. So, so good. I have a tutorial for this if you're interested. If you don't know how to make a corner to corner blanket, I do have a tutorial for this on my channel for both left and right-handed crocheters. It's a bit old. It's my older style of doing tutorials, but it's still there. And I show you how to increase, I show you how to decrease, and all the things. And so my plan for this blanket is to do a square, a 30-inch by 30-inch square, right? And then I want to do a frame. I want to take this blanket. So if you're not noticing here, I want to do a black corner, white stripe, blue corner. Okay? And then I'm going to take this color right here and frame it. But before I frame it, I'm going to get 2 strands of white like I did here. This is 2 strands of 4-weight. And for those of you guys that don't know this, if you run 2 4-weights together, you can work with an 8mm hook and it will match the thickness of your super bulky number 6, as you can see there. It's technically a 5 when you run 2 4-weights together, but it will work. So anyway, I'm going to take white and I'm going to frame it in white like I did here to match. And then I'm going to take this colorway right here, which is called Ginger Snap. And I'm going to put it around the edge of this blanket to get it to 40 inches, 42 inches, something like that for donations. So, yeah. And so I have 2 of these cakes here. If I need to go larger with the blanket, I will add more ultramarine outside of Ginger Snap to just really tie in that color. So that is my donation blanket for this particular week. And as you can see, I'm well on my way. And I'm using a Susan Bates hook. I'm obsessed as of late with these hooks. So this is a Susan Bates hook inline, 8mm US letter L. That's the suggested hook size for the yarn. So I'm using that. Juan, have you ever done a corner to corner rectangle blanket? Yes, I have. The one that I have for my room actually is a queen size rectangular. It's rectangular, it's queen size. I have a king size one. For donations though, I tend to stick to squares because it's faster to do a 40 by 40 square than a 40 by 50. So yeah, it's just simpler for donations. But for myself, or if I'm making it for a gift for someone, my preferred shape is a rectangle. And yeah, good question though, because you know, most corner to corners that I put out are squares, and again, it's for donations. So you know, if one of the options is a square and I can get it done faster, I'm going to do it that way. I have other patterns that I work up that I feel is faster as a rectangle as opposed to a square. So it depends on the pattern, but for corner to corner, square is easier. All right. Let's see. Susan Bates hooks were mom's favorite. I will tell you, I mentioned this before, guys. Susan Bates was literally one of the first hooks I've ever played with as a kid. Before I really learned how to crochet, I have pictures of me as a kid sitting on the floor with siblings and things. We're playing with crochet hooks, and we've got Susan Bates in our hands as kids. Yeah. So, donation blanket. Okay. And speaking of donations, I like to put a hat on the hook or hat on the needles every week. So every week so far for the last few months, I've had a finished object as like a hat or a whip as a hat. So I don't have anything on the hooks or on the needles right now. I have finished some things for other things, but for this week for the channel, I need to get the hat. I need to get a hat on the hook or on the needles. As of late, it was the Emberfell hat, the Emberfell cowl, not the cowl, the Emberfell beanie. Now that that is done, I need to move on to a different situation with that. So, Jamila, thank you so much for popping in. I appreciate you. Some of you guys have yet to go to bed. Wow. That blows me away. I mean, you know, I get it. There were many, many nights where I stayed up crocheting because I couldn't sleep. Fortunately for me, last night was one where I fell asleep at a decent hour and had some sleep. So I'm excited to get, well, thank you so much, Andrew. He says you have some amazing hat patterns. I appreciate that. I really do. Stay tuned. I'm making more. I'm going to do more. There's millions of ways that you can throw stitches together to make different patterns and designs and things. And that's the fun part of crochet and yarn arts in general, because, you know, there's tons of different stitches, and each placement, every time you change the placement, it creates a new design, and it's just something new. Very excited about that. Washington State have not been to bed yet. Wow. Oh yeah, technically it's like, what is it, 1 something, almost 2 o'clock in the morning over there? Wow, that's amazing. Good morning from Norway. It's 10:58 in the morning. I love that, Irene. Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in. Again, it blows me away, guys. I love it. So tonight, my time tonight, I have to do a replay video. So yesterday I celebrated my silver play. We did a celebration for this, right? And I showcased a bunch of prizes. So I'm going to do a replay video. And the way that I'm going to do this, as I mentioned in that video, is I'm going to take the keyword and I'm going to just randomly pull names up, verify that you're publicly subscribed, and issue prizes out. I had a whole bunch of different prizes. And the thing about this is, if your name comes up for a prize and you really don't want that prize, you don't have to claim the prize. It will roll to the next giveaway. But if you want your prize, of course, you're going to have to reach out to me at juantheyarnaddict@gmail.com. But this is the first time that I'm doing a replay giveaway like this, where it's just one keyword. You don't know what your prize is. You know, for you guys, it's a mystery. You don't know if your name's going to come up, you know, or whatever. But if your name does come up, you don't know the prize yet until it actually happens. So that's exciting. We have gift cards being given away. We have a big, huge box of yarn with a bunch of good yarns in there that's going up for a giveaway. We've got a crochet bag. We got a bunch of goodies here. So if you haven't checked out the celebration, please do that. And if you're interested in any of the prizes, just make sure that you leave your comments. The keyword is in the video. Please check out that video. Okay. So I'm waiting to, so Naam is asking what time. So I ended that live stream, I believe it was around 7:30, 8 o'clock, I think, something like that. But I'm going to begin recording my replay video at exactly 7 o'clock. So however long that takes me to record, I have to record, edit, upload. So that takes a little bit of time. So you should expect to see that tonight. I'm just going to put tonight. All right. So stay tuned for that. All right. Replay for silver play. And if, okay, so I see a bunch of members here. If your name is in green, you are a member of my channel, and we have a members only live tonight. And after, during that members only live, I'm going to showcase some prizes for you guys. And if you're interested in those prizes, then you're going to do the same thing that everyone else is doing for the video now. You know, so you guys who are in green have two chances to win some of these prizes. And one of the prizes that I'm really excited about are these handmade stitch markers that a dear friend of mine made. Pen Daisy Designs. Whoops. Hold on. That stitch marker fell in my coffee. Hold on. So we have these wonderful organza bags. And so it says JTYA 100K. And you have the clasp there, and you've got some purple little beads right there around the ring. Very, very nice. So yeah, Penn did an amazing job with these. Very, very nice. Again, these are hand stamped, so she did a great job. And so I have 10 of these going out as little treats, part of our replay giveaway for the 100K. Only a limited amount were made for the occasion, so I don't have an endless supply of these. Someone asked me, are you going to sell those? Honestly, they weren't made to be sold. They were made to, you know, be treats for the viewership, you know? So I really do appreciate you, Penn, for creating these for me. Yeah, I'm very thankful for that. So, again, if you're interested in any of the prizes, make sure that you check out that video, okay? Would really, really appreciate that. Okay, Penn, it fell in my coffee. Luckily, I didn't open it, so I just have to wipe the outside, which I will do afterwards. Nothing damaged on the inside, just the outside needs to be wiped off. Oh, too funny. So I will tell you, yesterday, that cake, oh my goodness. My absolute favorite cake, guys. It's strawberry shortcake with fresh strawberries, the shortbread, and the sugar-free whipped cream in between the layers. It's my favorite cake of all time. I mean, I get so excited when I have some of that in the house. I absolutely love it. I'm like a kid in a candy store with that sugar-free strawberry shortcake. And for those of you who don't know, I am diabetic, so I have to watch my sugar intake. And so I make sure to get sugar-free because it's sort of guilt-free snacking, you know? And I'm sitting here just shoveling it in yesterday. During the celebration, I'm just shoveling it in without a care in the world. I'm like, hold on, guys, let me take a piece. And I didn't feel bad about it. I'm like, yes, this is so, so good, because it's not very often that I actually indulge in my favorite cake, but little FYI, my absolute favorite cake is strawberry shortcake. Let's see. Was the cake angel food? I think it was shortbread cake, or maybe it was angel. I'm not sure. It tasted amazing, whatever it was, but I do know I ordered a complete sugar-free cake. So whatever it was sugar-free. And it was so, so good. It was amazing. I will tell you, my mother's favorite cake, Steven, is German chocolate. Like, my mom loves all the chocolate. So, like, yeah, the more chocolate, the better. One time I ordered her, I think it was for her 70th birthday. I ordered her a triple chocolate cake with German chocolate frosting. And I will tell you, when she got that cake, she had a slice of it. As soon as she took the first bite, she raised up her arm like this, and she said, "Don't you cut yourself a piece." That was the first time she didn't share her cake. She wouldn't let anyone else have any of her cake. She wanted it completely for herself. And I love that for her, because it's very seldom that she's ever like, this is all for me, you know? So, yeah. Triple chocolate cake with German chocolate frosting. She absolutely loved it. She was very stingy with it. It wasn't a big cake. It was only like, 6 or 8 inches. It was small. But man, was there all the chocolate on that cake. And she had such a blast with it. So, yeah. That's her favorite, chocolate. Debbie uses angel food cake for your shortcake because regular shortcake can have a lot of butter, and I've always gone, yep. Yeah. Favorite cake is Black Forest. German chocolate cake is too sweet for me. I gotta be honest with you. It's been eons since I've had really, really sweet cake, but for mom I order it, Last year, when we had that celebration, we had a cake here for mom. I believe, I'll have to look back at the video, because we recorded it here, her birthday. I believe that was a German chocolate cake as well. Or maybe a devil chocolate. I can't remember, but it was for sure chocolate. Yep. It's so sweet and dark, but she likes it. I don't know what it is about it, but love that for her. So another goal that I have for the week is to really dig into my knitting. So I had to order the correct needle sizes for my upgrades, so my shawls and my wraps and things that I'm currently knitting have grown to the point where I had to graduate up to longer circulars. So I've transferred my circulars to those bigger needles. So now I need to get moving on these projects. And so I'm going to pencil in here knitting updates by Friday. Okay. I may not be able to do all of them, but I want to make some movement on them. And it does take a little longer to progress through knitting. The stitches are a lot smaller. So you won't see me showcase my knitting, back to back to back. I've given some breathing room for my projects to sit. I may do like every other week updates with my knitting projects. Right now I've got 3 knit whips. I have my Finally Fall knit shawl. I have my bias scarf from Aberdeen Wool. And then I have my Mary Maxim knit kit. It's a triangle wrap. So I've got those 3 on the needles. And so I need to make some progress on those 3 now that I've graduated everything up to longer circulars. So I did that already. All my whip bags are in the other room. They're ready to get worked on. So I'm excited about that. Okay. Good night, Sue Ann. Thank you so much for popping in here. That strawberry cake yesterday looked good. Yes, Jennifer, it was so good. I wish you would have had a piece. So good. I wish you had a piece. Oh, so good. I can't remember how I knit large items on my straight needles. I do use long needles being yeah, you know what? I love using the straight needles for the drama of it all, I know that's really weird, but for like scarves, for swatches, I really like to use my straight needles. And I do keep a bunch of them here. So if I ever feel the need to, put something on the needles while I sit here and watch a YouTube tutorial on how to do cast-ons and things like that. And I got to tell you, I watch a lot of knitting channels. I'm super inspired to get learning on this craft that is knitting. There's so much to learn. And so I do take time while I'm working on my crochet to watch knitting. And sometimes I'll put down the crochet, if a tutorial or something comes up in knitting, I'll grab some needles and I'll grab some leftover yarn and I'll practice, So, as a crocheter who doesn't knit, how do you regulate tension if both hands have needles in them? So I find that I use the same hand, and that's why I'm a right-handed knitter and a left-handed crocheter, because as a left-handed crocheter, I hold the yarn in my right hand. So in knitting, I hold the yarn in my right hand. So I'm used to working with tension using the hand that I hold the yarn in. So it's the same, The only thing that's different is I knit, my active hand in knitting is the opposite hand. So, yeah. Yep, I just regulate the tension with my fingers the same way you would in crochet. Yep. Debbie says, I have such a taste for it now, but for me, angel food cake with strawberries and some Cool Whip. Yum. Yes. 100% fresh strawberries. Chop those puppies up. Put them on some angel food cake, right? And Cool Whip. Sugar-free Cool Whip. Oh, so good. Yes. And, with most, like, with Tunisian crochet, knitting, all the fiber arts, your tension is always controlled by your hand. The same way that you control your yarn in your current craft is the same way you would in others. It's literally just learning how to manipulate your hands to work those other crafts, So, very, very nice. But the finger's hand is also working a needle, or do you not move the other needle? So in knitting, your active hand usually is the one I mean, you also have continental and you have English. So, and there's many different types of knitting. There's Portuguese, there's Japanese, there's tons of different ways to knit. But I'm an English knitter. I love English style knitting. It's where you insert, you wrap, you flick, you throw is what they call it. You take your yarn and you throw it over your needles. In continental, you actually pick and peck. You pick, you flick. So I don't knit continental. I find it fascinating. I think continental is just worked differently. You achieve the same results, but you do it differently. So in English style knitting, yeah, your active hand is what does the work. So I'm a right-handed knitter. My right hand is always the one that's moving. Yes. In lever knitting, only one needle moves. I love that. I find for me that continental is more like crocheting for me. My dominant needle is my right. Yep. I'll try knitting with my opposite as I'm right-handed, but my right arm has continuous pain due to fibromyalgia. Yeah. And it's really funny because in crochet, I have no pain whatsoever when I crochet, but when I knit, I find that these two fingers right here tend to get really sore with really small needles. And by small, I mean like 2.75 like sock needles. I tried doing the sock situation, but the needles were so small. And I think it's because I'm clamping my hands so tight because everything is so tiny. And my hands are really big, guys. From here to here, it's 9.5 inches. Huge hands, little needles. I'm clenched up. It gets sore here. But for like 6 millimeter, 5 millimeter, it's fine. I never experienced hand pain until that, you know. All right, Carrie, thank you so much for popping in. I really appreciate that. Thank you for being here. I too gave little to no pain increased crocheting, but knitting hurts a lot, so I only do it sometimes. Yeah, I have a feeling that the pain is literally coming from one, yes, like Colette mentions, being new to knitting. Also, two, it's the big hands, the little needles, and learning how to manipulate such small stitches with such large hands. To be able to just go in and move just a little bit as opposed to moving those larger stitches. I have to tell you, my sweet spot is super bulky number 6 or bulky number 5. I love working with thicker yarns because I have these huge hands. I do like that. For me, a 4 weight is more like a DK weight because of how big my hands are. So it's perspective. If you have real small hands, like 4-inch hands, real tiny itty bitty claws hands, those super bulky number 6 weight yarns would be ginormous to you. It's just about perspective and about, the relativity between the size of your hands versus the thickness of the yarn. So, yeah. Good morning, Deborah M. Welcome in. Jamila says, yeah, I'm a lady with man-sized hands. Oh, my. I love that. So good. So Cherry says, my hands are about 6.5 inches. Love it. So Jennifer says, I knit British, but crochet US. So I'm curious to know, okay, how many British knitters, UK knitters, use American terms, and how many crocheters, let me rephrase that, how many crocheters that are in the UK actually use US terms versus UK terms? I would imagine that the majority of those in the UK use UK terms. Is it popular to use American terms over there, or is it popular to stick with the UK terms? Since Jennifer is over there, I'm very curious. Andrew says, I can palm a basketball, so I know how you feel, right? It's insane. I appreciate that, Jamila. I appreciate that. So I'm going to have to look that up. I don't know how popular it is, But I would imagine they have UK terms for a reason. There's a bunch of people over there that crochet, and you know, the relativity between the both is what we call a single crochet, they call a double, because you've got 2 loops on the hook when you're doing a single, you know. And for our double crochet, they call a treble. It's one step up, you know. And I'm curious to know. Um, let's see. Let's see. What's the difference? Yeah, the difference is just the amount of loops that you have on the hook. So a slip stitch, what we call a slip stitch, is a single to them. A single crochet is a double crochet is a treble is a double treble to them. So it's one step up, you know? I grew up in Sweden, so I use mostly European sizing, so I have a hard time because they don't put on the skeins the weight the same way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Patricia says, Juan, don't hold your knitting needles too tight. That can cause pain, and take regular breaks and massage your hands. That helps me knit for longer. Yeah, like this. Mm-hmm. I use American terms, but you taught me. Oh, that's so nice. I love seeing that. And the terms make more sense. Right. I agree. It just makes sense, right? You often interchange since I started watching you. I appreciate that, Snowy Cat. I really do. I am a British born, live in New Zealand, but crochet using American terminology. I love that. Full world experience of all the things. So, so good. Hold on one second. I gotta plug in before the camera runs out of juice. Hold on. Get in there, get in there. There we go. Okay, we're plugged in. Let's see. I do use the American stitch name, so UK confused me in the beginning. Yeah, I will tell you, when you look at the loops, when you do a single crochet and you look at the loops that's on your hook, it makes sense on why they call it a double. You know, because when you look at it, there's 2 loops, double loops. When you're doing a double crochet US terms, you have 3 loops on your hook. You know, you have the original loop, then you have your yarn over, and then you have the pull through. So you have 3 loops on your hook. So they call that a treble, you know. So I understand why they do it, but US terms, we classify a stitch based on how many times you pull through. They classify their stitch based on how many loops are on your hook at the time before you do your pull through. So for those of you guys who don't know the difference on like why what is called what, the difference is literally how many loops you've got on your hook before and after the pull through. So I'm trying to find my hook, but I'm sure you guys get it. Yes. Yep. So for us, it's about how many times you pull through your stitch. So for a single, you're pulling through once. For doubles, you're pulling through twice. For trebles, you're pulling through 3 times. But in the UK terms, it's not about the pull through. It's about the loops on your hook. So for a single crochet, for us, it's a single. You have 2 loops. You've got the original loop, and then you have the loop that you've pulled through. That's a single. And then so on and so forth. So, yeah. So Cherry can read UK terms and translate them into US terms. I've learned making Ammies. So, so nice. You know, and once you learn the connection between what is what, it's a piece of cake. Bye, Jamila. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for peppering in here. Thank you for being here today. Triple treble in UK just blew my mind. US terms so much easier. It is. A triple treble. Can you imagine? A triple treble is a double treble for us. It's 4 yarn overs, you know, but for them, 4 yarn overs is a triple treble. It's a lot to take in, you know. The UK makes no sense. What would be a single to them? There isn't one, right? So, well, a single to them is a slip stitch. Yep, it is. And I use UK terms when I speak to my hooks and needles. When it comes to the stitches, I want to say 98% of my viewership, 99% of my viewership uses UK terms. But for the hook size, because many countries out there use millimeters instead of like the US letters, I always put the millimeters out there for you guys as well. So do they call it a single? I'm not sure. I don't know if they call it a single or if they call it a slip stitch. It's very rare that I hear UK crocheters mention that, you know. When I watch true UK crocheters, listening to them sounds like tongue twisters. I gotta tell you, my British friends that crochet, I find it fascinating, because one, you've got their very strong accent, especially if there's like, especially the ones with the Scouse accent. I love it. I'm so fascinated by the way they speak. I'm like this. I'm like, keep talking. Just talk. Tell me the things. Tell me all the things. And with the Scouse accent, they have the dip and the fall in their voice while speaking, British style English. They've got the rise and the fall of their words. And I'm just like this, just keep talking. And then when they're talking crocheting, it can be very confusing because they've got their accent and then they got their terms and, the way they do their work. I just find it absolutely fascinating. I love it. So good. Good morning, Joyce. Welcome in. You learned with millimeters, not letters, and I wish it were like that everywhere. I actually learned with letters. It's the American style. I had to pick up the millimeters later on in life, and the old time crocheters here in the States learned with letters. And if you look at the older patterns, it has no mention of millimeters at all. It's like use an I hook, use a G, use a J, use a K. And in knitting, the older patterns that I have here have no mention of millimeters either. It says use number 10s, use number 9s, use number 5s, number 6s. That's it. I don't know where the disconnect was. I don't know if there was just no communication back in the day, that they couldn't unify, like just be one and that's it. But yeah, I learned old school. Let's see. Oh my God, years ago, I used to watch Monty Python's Flying Circus, and it took me a while to be able to understand their very thick British accents. I'm just fascinated by it. I love it. And believe it or not, there are British friends of mine who are fascinated with our American accents. We've got the Boston accents and the Southern Texas, and then we've got the Alabama, Mississippi accents, and then we've got, out west. So there's different accents here in the States that they're fascinated by, and I love that for them. They're like, give us that Southern accent. And I find it really, I find it amazing how different people try American accents. And because I find it on YouTube a lot too, where you have people from other countries, not just UK, but all over, and they try these American accents. You have New York, you have Boston, you have just tons. I love it. And I learned that in the UK, there's a bunch of accents there as well. I can't name them all. I don't know them all off the top of my head, but there's a bunch over there too. Debbie says, when I first moved here from San Diego, people could tell I was from Chicago. There is a Chicago accent. I can't nail that one. I've tried. I can't do it. But I do like listening to it. I find it amazing. So yeah. Good morning, Manuela. Welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. One, originally from PA, live in Oregon for longer, and when I watch you, I can definitely hear the Philly accent. Yes. I am from Philadelphia suburb. I'm from a Philadelphia suburb, but I trickled down into Philadelphia as soon as I became of age, and that's been my home. And so, I definitely have that accent, Jackie. I love it when people know where I'm from based on how I talk. I love it. So, yes. And people ask me, Juan, where at in Philly? Because even in Philly, there are different accents. I don't know if you knew that, but different parts of Philly have different accents. So, you've got the South Philly accent, which spans on over to South and Southwest Philly. You have a North Philly accent, a Northeast Philly accent, and I think Center City is just the melting pot of all of the accents, but South Philly here. I've got the South Philly accent, 100%. I thought Philly or Baltimore. Yep, we're in that same geographical area, but I will tell you, if you're from Philly, there's a distinct difference between, and you can hear it. Philadelphians know they've got like, okay, you're from South Philly, but how far down, you know? And then Northeast Philly has a slightly different accent, and you can kind of pinpoint that through some words and through how they talk. So, Jackie says, I knew you were South Philly. Yeah, South Philly here. Yep, all the way down, and when I talk South Philly, I'm saying all the way south by like Oregon Avenue. That's kind of where I spent a lot of my time down there by Broaden, Oregon, and then I peppered my way up through the years. You know, I got closer and closer to Center City, and then I spent the last handful of years while in Philly in Southwest Center City by Graduate Hospital. So yeah, I started way nosebleed south and then moved up to Center City through the years. So yeah, absolutely love it. You know, I want to tell you that if because I loved Philly. I spent many years there. But as I got older, I wanted the slower pace. Philly is just like every other big city. There's the hustle, the bustle. It's always busy, always awake, never sleeping. It's never quiet. And I needed to get away from the noise. And now I am away from the noise. I'm in nowhere, Delaware, and I love it. It's giving, get off my lawn. I'm on my rocking chair out front, and I'm very that. I knew Juan was not from Baltimore when he never used the word hun. Yeah, I don't use that. So, yeah. Um, did you ever watch Abbott Elementary? There's a character, Melissa, who has that Philly accent down. I have seen a few episodes, but I don't know who this Melissa is. I'll have to look it up. Um, I'll have to check that out for sure. That's the one that's got Viola Davis in it, right? Abbott Elementary. I believe Viola Davis plays a character in there. Um, I want to tell you that in Delaware, we have Wilmington. I'm not in Wilmington because that's a very busy city. It's the busiest city in our state. I moved from Philly to Wilmington and noticed how much slower Wilmington is compared to Philly. But I've been in Delaware now since 2016. Yeah, 2015, 2016. I want to say almost 10 years. And when I left Wilmington, I only lived in Wilmington for a handful of years. I left Wilmington to come down further downstate to Newcastle. And it's much slower even. So I'm just really happy that, and then Newcastle is split up into two sections. It's not all one. There's two different areas within Newcastle, which is nice. But I'm in this slower, I love how slow it is here. It's really quiet. It's not noisy. There's green grass, there's trees, and I love it. I love it here. And you'd be surprised to know that the vast majority of Delaware is farmland. Did you guys know that? Even though we're close to Philly, we're close to Baltimore and all the things, the vast majority of our state is farmland. 2 out of the 3 counties, it's mostly farm. So when you leave the top part of our state and you come down to the larger part of our state, there's chicken farms, there's all sorts of farms. It's lots of farmland and it's very flat. Delaware outside of Newcastle County is very, very flat. Just wanted to share that. A lot of people have this conception that Delaware is just as busy as like Philly. It's, all city, and it's not. It's mostly green grass and trees and flat ground, you know? I do really like Delaware more than I thought I would when I first moved here. It was a little unnerving when I first relocated from Pennsylvania to Delaware because you always, like, as a Philadelphian, you hear, oh, it's just Delaware, Delaware, you hear it come up in conversation, but you really don't connect the dots, especially if you've never been here. Little side secret, I barely, if ever, visited Delaware before actually moving here. I just wanted to I wanted to change the scenery, so I just picked up and moved, and I'm glad that I did. you know it reminds me of Maryland Eastern Shore. In fact, it's just like that. It's just like that. Yep, it's exactly the same. I'm from Southwest Virginia, and everybody says I have a Southern accent. I think that's where it starts at, to be honest with you. Like, the Southern Virginia, the North Carolina, like, that's where you start to see the shift in the words. Like, you hear the Philadelphia, the DC, the Baltimore accent. We have our whole triangle area there, but then it changes over into a Southern accent starting in Southern Virginia. And I think, like, even Florida. So from North Carolina all the way down to like northern Florida, you've got that whole section there where there's just a whole melting pot of different accents. Because I have to tell you, people who live in North Carolina have a different accent than people who live in Georgia. It's similar, but it's not the same. There's slight variations because I have friends that live in North Carolina, I have friends that live in Georgia, and they're different. If that makes any sense. They're the same, but they're different. You can tell they don't live in the same state. And you know what's more? North Carolinians sound very different from South Carolina. Like, there's a distinct difference. Yes. There's a clear difference between the two states. You can hear it. Southern people from Southern Carolina, I feel, sound more from the bush than those that are in North Carolina. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. They sound like they're in the woods. They sound like, they've been hiding and they haven't seen, the modern world. If you're from South Carolina, I'm really sorry, but that's just my personal opinion of my personal experiences with encountering people that are in South Carolina. They just sound like they're from the bush. North Carolinians, to me, sound like they're with it. Like, they've got that Southern accent, but they've got the wherewithal to be able to handle the bandwidth of the world. I'm so sorry for the South Carolinians who are watching. South Carolinians. Born in Utah, then Vegas, then Branson, then New Jersey, so I refuse to accept that I have a Chicago accent. I hear you. The Carolinas are very different. Many think they are the same. They're not. They're not. And you know what? Sometimes it takes a person from outside the box to really pinpoint it. I feel like South Carolina is the redheaded stepchild of the two Carolinas. It's otherwise known as the armpit of the South. I've driven through the state many times, and I will tell you, it does feel like that when you're driving through the state. I'm sorry. That's personal opinion. South Carolina, to me, just feels like I have to hurry up and get out of the state when I'm driving through it. Especially in the summertime, there's flies I mean, my windshield gets bamboozled as I'm driving through the interstate, going through South Carolina. It happens every single time I drive through that state. I feel like I have to purchase extra windshield washer fluid before I enter the state and after, because I'm constantly using it to clean my windshield. It's the truth. I mean, I'm talking from personal experience. But I listen. It doesn't negate the fact that there's some amazing people in South Carolina. I'm just saying. I think New Jersey's the armpit of the East Coast. Um, I want to say specifically, Jackie. I'm gonna bump that up just one little notch. Having lived in South Jersey for a little bit, I want to tell you South Jersey specifically is the armpit of the East Coast. So everything from Trenton down to Cape May, armpit. Armpit for sure. Everything from Trenton down to Cape May. It's got a different accent. It's got, oh my goodness, the jug handles and the roads and all the things. Hi, Michelle. Juan, thank you for being in your Cal era working on your most recent pattern, Chef's Kiss. I love that. I'm so glad that you like it. And thank you for reminding me about that, Michelle. So the members, just a little reminder, as a little treat, as a little thank you for being here as a part of my journey, check the community tab. I left you a post there last night. If you haven't seen it yet, there's a little treat sitting in there for you guys. So make sure that you read that, follow the directions so you can get your treat. Okay. And you'll be boosting your numbers in those areas. How? I have no idea, Debbie. Listen, I still go. I mean, I still interact. It's one of those relationships where they know what it is. I mean, South Jerseyans know that they're in, and they consider themselves as part of Philly, you know? Even though they're not from Philly, they're actually in Jersey. They consider themselves like a Philly metropolitan area. And yeah. Good afternoon, Stefani. Welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. So good. Anyway, I still go to the local yarn stores. I still show up. I still tell them, you know, all the things. So it goes without saying. It is what it is, right? Because New Jerseyans call us the drive-through state. I've even mentioned it, that we're the drive-through state, because you literally just drive through Delaware. I mean, it's that small. You drive right through it. It's kind of like driving through Rhode Island. It's so little, you just drive right through it. Currently on round 8, and you started. Oh, that's nice. I love that. So good. You just don't talk armpits. Right, we talk yarn. So good. New Jersey has an identity crisis. Northern like New York and Southern like Philly. Yes, they latch on to their neighbors. They can't be one in their own, even though they do have the wherewithal to just be their own. They're associated with the neighboring states. You're absolutely right. I feel like everything from Trenton north affiliates themselves with everything north, whether that be New York or otherwise. Everything from Trenton down, it's Philly. It's all about Philly. So, yeah, I absolutely love it. So also I want to put this out there for the members. If you're in green, you're a member, obviously, you know that. The tutorial for the treat will come out in the middle of the month. Just letting you guys know that. I think I put that in there, but just in case, letting you know, the tutorial for the treat will come out in a few weeks. Okay? So, just to recap, for today, anyway, we have a Whipping It with Juan coming out, and then after that, we've got a members only live this evening. And then tomorrow is Taco Tuesday. It is the season finale. We are wrapping up the season tomorrow. So if you have any of your projects made or you're working on them, tomorrow is the cutoff. And then for the final week, as I mentioned before, I just want to put this out there. We're not doing repeats week like we've done previous seasons. Previously, at the end of every Taco Tuesday season, we've had repeats week. So we take all the challenges that we've done, we put them in a jar, and we pick again. For the final round this season, we're going to continue picking out of the jar because there's tons of really good projects that we could work on. So to just wrap and summarize, we're going to pick out of that jar. After this Taco Tuesday, we will be moving on to something a little different. So we're not doing Taco Tuesday after that. For a little while, we're going to try something a little different. So stay tuned for that. Okay. Very excited about that. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up our Wake Up with Juan. I hope you are awake. I hope you are ready to get your day started. I absolutely love doing these Wake Up with Juan sessions. I literally wake up with you guys, because if you if you watch the very beginning of this live stream, I am literally just waking up. And so now I am ready to tackle the day. I've got my laundry list of work to do, and I can't wait to get started. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. So that is all from me for now. And until the next one, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. Bye, guys.